Today is the second shir. We're holding Hilchos Beis Habechira Perek Halacha Ches. Ches. 8. Number 8. We in these booklets it's page Yud Zayin. So we already explained yesterday that there's the Mishkan, there's the Beis Rishon, Beis Sheni, Beis Shlishi, and there's certain things that all of them have in common. All of them have in common that there's a Kodesh, HaKodashim, there's a Ulam, there's an Azara. All of them have in common the Kalim that are in the Kodesh, the Mizbeach, the Menorah, the Shulchan. And then you have the Mizbeach that's in the Azara as well as the Kiyar. These are the things that they all have in common. That's what we're in the middle of discussing. We're holding Halacha Ches. The Rambam tells us, when you build the walls of the Heichel and the walls of the Azara, which as we learned yesterday, the Heichel is the structure of the Kodesh, the Kodesh HaKodashim, and the Ulam. That main structure is the Heichel. Around that, further away, there is another mechitza surrounding the Azara. So both the walls of the Heichel as well as the walls surrounding the Azara, we build with large stones. If they can't find large stones, it's hard to get them. You're allowed to build with bricks. You're not allowed to cut the stones for the walls in the Harabais, on the Harabais. You're not allowed to cut it while you're on the Harabais. Obviously, these stones need to be cut. You need to make it smooth, make a smooth wall. You can't just use jagged stones. But it's not allowed to be done while you're on the Harabais. Ella rather, mefatzlin oison, they're supposed to be cut. Umisatzin oison, and you smoothing them out. Mibachutz, outside the Azara, outside the Harabais, before you come to the Harabais. And then you bring it once it's already smooth and cut. That's when you bring it into the Harabais and you use it for the building. How do we know this? How do we know that we're not allowed to cut the stones on the Harabais? It says in the pasuk, it says we use large, heavy stones to build the Beis Hamikdash. Avnei gazos. Avnei gazos means stones that were cut, stones that are smooth. That's one pasuk. On the other hand, we find in another pasuk where it says clearly, there shouldn't be any kalim of metal or other types of knives or whatever it is that they should not be used on the Harabayas. So it's a little bit of a contradiction. We say that you're not supposed to use any kalim to cut. On the other hand, the pasuk says that you should have smooth stones. So how do we resolve this contradiction? Simple. It says that on the Harabayas you can't cut. So you're allowed to cut them before you bring them onto the Harabais. You can cut them there beforehand and bring them, and then you have smooth stones. Halacha Tes. The ein boin and boy ate boilet klal. There's not allowed to have any stone that's exposed. Any wood that's exposed. Ella rather, oy ba'avanim, oy b'levenim v'sid. All you're allowed to use is stone, or bricks, or cement. What's it? Plaster. But wood, you're allowed to use wood as long as it's not exposed, as long as it's covered. Not allowed to make any like porches made out of wood in the entire Azara. Only of stone or brick. Now this that we're talking about over here is talking about the Ezras Yisrael. We're not talking about the Ezras Nashim. Because the Ezras Nashim, they actually did have, the Simchas Beis Habechira. They surrounded the entire Ezras Nashim with these porches of wood, and that's what they do by Simchas Beis Habechira. So in the Ezras Nashim, it is permissible. We're talking about closer in, once you get into the Ezras Yisrael, into the Azara, that's when you're not allowed. ba'avanim yakaris. The floor of the entire Hazara should be, you should use heavy or expensive precious stones. If a stone is uprooted, disconnected from the ground, even though it's standing in its place, it wasn't moved from its place, it's still in the same place, but it's not connected to the ground. It's possible. Because it's ruined and it's disconnected, it's possible, meaning that actually it's forbidden for a kohen to stand on top of that stone and do the avodah until it's affixed properly to the ground. And as if he stands there, it's like he's not standing in the Hazara. There's a chatzitza. There's not allowed to be any chatzitza between the foot of the kohen and the floor of the Hazara. So if this stone is disconnected from the ground, so that stone becomes like a chatzitza. You're not standing on the actual floor of the Hazara. Halacha Yud Aleph. Mitzvah min hamuvchar lechazik es habinyin ulhagbiyoi kefi koyach hatzibur. Mitzvah min hamuvchar, to strengthen the building and to lift it, to actually make it as high as possible. You want to build it to make it higher, it's not easy. It requires a lot more work, a lot more money. As much as the tzibur is able to afford and the ability that they have, we should try to lift and make it as high as possible. Shenamar says in the pasuk, "Uleroyim as Beis Habechira to uplift the Beis Hamikdash." Also, we try to beautify the Beis Hamikdash as much as possible. Also, based on the means, how much money we have. If we have the ability and the means to plate it with gold, to make it very high, so that's a mitzvah. That's a mitzvah in hamuvchar, both to make it as high as possible and also as beautiful and expensive as possible.
I'm not going to say later the dimensions, how high it was.
So when it comes to the heights, that there aren't the word dimensions, but it was okay. It's permissible to do higher when it comes to the heights. Everything else, there's an exact measurement that David gave. You're not allowed to change it, but that's only regarding the width, the length. But regarding the heights, it's permissible to do higher. Ein boin halacha yudvei this hamikdash balayla. Not allowed to build the Beis Hamikdash by night. Shedamar b'yoyim hakim es hamishkan, a clear passage. B'yoyim hakim and balayla should be erected during the day and not during the night. And when we say the day, we mean sometimes day we're referring to from Netzachama. Sometimes we're referring to Til Shkia. Over here we mean from Aleis HaShachar till Tzeisak Echav. Who's Gedalia? Huh? Who else knows besides that? So we're in the middle of Halacha Yud Beis. Perek Aleph Halacha Yud Beis. So the Rambam continues. Everyone is obligated to build and to assist in the building. Both with their own actual bodies to help in the actual building and financially. Men and women. Just like it was done in the Mikdash in the Midbar. It's actually a little bit of an interesting thing. It says also women are mechuyev. The chayra, this is a mitzvah seishas man grama. B'yoyim mekimin loy balayla. This same halacha that Rama begins, that the mitzvah is only during the daytime, not at night. And in the same halacha he continues that the mitzvah is also for women. We know the klal that women are not mechuyev in a mitzvah seishas man grama. So there are two answers that they bring over here. One, that the mitzvah of building the Beis Hamikdash includes also all the preparations, all the preps, which that's allowed to be done by night also. Just the actual building, the actual erecting it, that could only be done by day. So really the mitzvah is not limited to the daytime. The mitzvah is during the day and during the night. It's just the actual building, that's during the daytime. And therefore, it's not a mitzvah seishas man garam. Another answer that's given is that really the mitzvah is not just to build it. The mitzvah is that there should be the Beis Hamikdash built. It's a 24/7 mitzvah. We always need to have a Beis Hamikdash built. It starts off with the building, but then the mitzvah is that it should always be. And that mitzvah is 24/7. The actual building it, the initial start, that's only during the daytime. But the mitzvah is that there should be a Beis Hamikdash. The mitzvah it's not just a one-time thing to make a Beis Hamikdash and then you're done. The mitzvah is that there should always be. It's a mitzvah that's mitzvah that's common, that there should always be the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, again, it's not a mitzvah seishas man grama, it's a mitzvah tzmidis. Similar to the mitzvah of Milah. Mitzvah of Milah is not considered a mitzvah seishas man grama, even though Milah can only be done during the daytime. Because the mitzvah is not just a one-time thing to do the act of milah, it's a mitzvah to always have the milah. So milah is not considered a mitzvah seishas man garab. It's relevant. Okay, manaf kamina, milah is only for a zachar, not for a nekela, but there is a relevance. There is a relevance to that. Halacha Yud Beis continues. Ve'ein mevatlan tinoikish. We didn't finish Yud Beis. I think we still have one more line there. Ein mevatlan tinoikish of Israel and the binyan. Children learning Torah, we don't stop them from learning Torah even for binyan Beis Hamikdash. Very famous line. How important the Lumad Torah to Nekish of Israel is, even for the greatest. What's can I grasp? Binyan Beis Hamikdash, the greatest thing, bringing down the Shina. No. Yiddish kinder learning Torah, ein mevatlan tinekish of Israel, even for the greatest of Binyan Beis Hamikdash. Teaches us the lesson of how great and how important it is, the Torah of tinekish of Israel. And the ein Binyan Beis Hamikdash doiche yamtiv. Building the Beis Hamikdash is a mitzvah say. Yamtiv, chilul yamtiv, is a say and a lois say. So there's a cloud, ein asay, doicha lois asay v'asay. Asay, doicha lois asay. Asay is doicha lois. If Yamtiv would have just been a lois asay, so then yeah, say doicha lois asay. And maybe it would be permissible on Yamtiv. But because Yamtiv, chilul Yamtiv, is saya lois asay, saya asay, is it asay to keep Yamtiv, and a lois asay not to mechal Yamtiv. So if you mechal Yamtiv, you're able to saya asay, saya lois asay. So the mitzvah asay of building Beis Hamikdash is not doicha Yamtiv. Now, when we say it's not Deicha Yom Tov, it doesn't mean that it is Deicha Shabbos. It means even Yom Tov Kol Shekain, that it's not Deicha Shabbos. Shabbos also has a lois asay and a asay. Zachar v'Shabbos. Shabbos has both. It's just that even Yom Tov, which it's less chamor, it's just a lamb. There's no misa, there's no kares. It's just a lois asay. Even Shabbos, which is just a chiyuv, even Yom Tov, which is just a chiyuv malchus, even there. Ein binyan Beis Hamikdash deicha Yom Tov kol shekain Shabbos when we're dealing with Chiyuv Misa. Huh? It's not referring to Chol Moed. It's referring to Yom Tov.
Someone said that Noshim should build a Beis Hamikdash. Never sent children in the first place.
Right.
And that's an alien population. Doesn't say they have to do it. It says that they have to do it, but then what about they're not doing there? What about doing recess time?
When they're not, what about when they're not learning?
So if they're not learning for whatever reason, that they won't have recess or whatever.
So I don't know if this is conventional thinking, but this halacha maybe is teaching us that there's no such thing. If a child is able now to build a Beis Hamikdash, then he can still learn Torah. No such thing. No such thing. He sits to learn. No such thing. Ich kann nicht lernen yet, but ich habe Keiches to build Beis Hamikdash. Das ist nicht so sagen. Du hast Keiches to build Beis Hamikdash, geh lernen. Sehr wichtig gekommen. Geh lernen. So sagen. I don't know if that fits with conventional thinking, but maybe that's why it doesn't mention children because always children. That's why it doesn't mention at all children. There's no chiyuv upon children. Why not? Because and if they're able to build, then they're able to learn. As gay learn. But they can help when they're schlepping and they're bringing things.
But if they want to come in and pick the olives for the Shemazayim off, well, why? The word seems to imply that's what I'm saying. Those who
I don't think it means if they're learning ein mevat. I think it means that we don't take them to build because building will be a bittul. Ein mevat. We don't take them away from. We don't take them to build as that will be a bittul of Tenekesh Islam. I don't think it means if they're learning and otherwise, yeah, no. We don't take them to build because that will be a bittul. Huh? We definitely refer to under mitzvah, yeah.
So what if they're like, are they still doing it? I mean, I'm not asking you.
Yeah.
Something that somebody refers to because it's a bit more.
Is there a minimum age? I guess is there a minimum age of being able to help from the Beis Hamikdash? As it's the same age. The minimum age you're able to help the Beis Hamikdash, you're able to learn. Halacha Yud Gimel. Hamizbeach ein oisen oisoi ella binyan avon. Mizbeach has to be built out of stone. Some Girsais has the word gazis over here, but it's an error. And this one over here doesn't have it, so that's good. This that it says in the Torah that should be a mizbeach of earth. It doesn't mean that the mizbeach itself, the material used for the mizbeach, is earth. That's not what it means. It means that the mizbeach should be mechuber to the earth. Mechuber ba'adama. It should be connected to the earth, and that there should be no separation between it and the earth. Shaloi yivnu lo al gabe chipin. You shouldn't build it on top of any dome or something. That it's not actually on the earth. There shouldn't be any separation between it and the earth. It should be built on the earth. And not only that, but also beneath it, there shouldn't be any tunnels. It should be solid. The earth beneath it should be solid. Ram continues, this that says in the pasuk, if you'll build mizbech of stone, it sounds like it's a choice. It's an option. Optional. It's optional to build it of stone. So the Ram says, if Piyah Shmuel Lamdu was passed down, ish fi ish, to Moshe Rabbeinu, that's not what it means. Sometimes the word ve'im doesn't mean a shus. Sometimes the word ve'im means chayva. That you must do it that way. Ve'im mizbech avan mizbech must be built of stone. Right? The mitzvah, right?
So one in here doesn't apply gusses, or it does. Gusses is huge stone.
No, gazes means cuts with metal. That's what gazes means. Well, I'm sorry, what? I thought you said huge. What did you say? Huge means cut. The N? Oh, H-E-W. Huge. Yeah, so gazes means huge stones, cut stones. But the stones that are used for the mizbeach, we're going to learn soon, can't be cut.
Right. So
period.
So if they wanted to,
Yeah.
So a one in here doesn't mean stones that can be cut. This just means stones, little stone in the river and so on. So a one in here doesn't mean
right. No, it doesn't mean about yeah, we'll see. And later on, the Ram talks about how you actually make the mizbeach. Right. You can't make it with just stones because the stones are cut. So there's a frame. You fill it up with as much stones as possible, and then you fill up the rest of it with cement or with plaster. Yodalit. Call Avin any stone shenifkima that's indented, that has a little nick. Enough that the fingernail gets caught up in it. Kisak and shashchika, the same shear as the knife that's used for a shoichet, that he has to use his fingernail to test that there's no nick in the knife. Same is the shear by a stone. If it does have that nick, hareza psula la kevesh v'lam mizbeach. If it has such a nick, it's going to be possible, and it can't be used for the ram or for the mizbeach. And you can't cut the stones, and you can't smoothen it out. So you have to find a stone that's like that. Complete stones. So where would they get such stones from? And it has to be such stones that were never touched by metal, were never cut, and metal never even touched them. And the only way to find such a stone that was never touched is you have to go dig under the ground to a spot that like karka that human beings never reached. Deep into the earth that human beings never touched. That's why it's called psula sakarka. Psula is a woman that never lived with a man, never had relations. It's called a psula. So a karka that humans never reached and never plowed. It's called psula sakarka. You have to reach such a karka that was never plowed by human beings. And you have to dig to reach a place that you know it, that's clear, that's evident, that was never touched. And from there, you take out stones. Or from the Yamagadol, deep in the bedrock of the sea. And those stones can be used to build. And then you have stones that were never touched by metal. And you can have stones that don't have any pgam, don't have any nick, and they were never touched by metal. Now the Rambam fears the last few lines of Halacha Yudal that could be misleading. The Rambam says V'chein Avnei Ha'Heichel Azara Shleim Esayu. Also the stones of the Heichel and the Azara were complete. Now that's true, but it's not the same. They were also complete, and they also couldn't have a nick. But it was permissible to cut them and to smoothen them out outside the Azara. You didn't have to dig Mimsulas HaKarka or from the Yamagadol for those. The V'chein is just that they also had to be complete. That's all the V'chein is going on, but not on the rest of it. There's actually a machlekes here about the shear. Is the V'chein also going on the shear, that the shear of Nick is the same? We're so machmir that even so some opinions say, yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying with the V'chein, that they also have to be complete and they also have the same shear. That's the way the Minchas Chinuch learns. Others say no, that's not what the V'chein means, and it's a different shear. They say that the stones of the Mizbeach, the fact that they need to be complete is min haTorah. The stones of the Heichel and the Azara, the fact that they need to be complete is midrabban, and therefore we're more makel over there that they don't have to be mamish k'dei. So there's a machlekes. So again, everyone agrees that the V'chein Avnei Heichel Azara Shleim doesn't mean that you have to dig from the Basulas HaKarka and that metal can't touch it. No, metal could touch it and you can cut it beforehand. The V'chein just means that it also has to be complete. There's a machlekes if it's exactly right. How complete does it have to be? Is the shear so chamor like the Avnei Mizbeach? Or we're more makel when it comes to the stones of Heichel and Azara. All right, to be continued tomorrow. Someone